Somewhere out there are two people doing almost the exact same job with the exact same skills on the same team. One of them earns noticeably more than the other, not because they're better, not because anyone cheated, because at one moment in one short conversation, one of them asked and the other didn't. That conversation lasts about 10 minutes, and over a career, the gap it creates can be worth more than a decade of careful saving. So in the next few minutes I'm going to show you exactly why the raise conversation is the highest paid 10 minutes of your life, the 4 things to do before you walk in, and the precise words to say once you're in the room. Almost all money advice points in one direction. Spend less, and spending less works, but it has a hard floor. There is a limit to how much you can cut, because at some point you simply run out of things to remove. Your income has no ceiling in the same way. That asymmetry is the whole reason this one conversation matters so much. Here's the part that makes it bigger than it looks. A raise isn't a one-time payment. It resets the base that every future raise is calculated from. A percentage increase next year is applied to the higher number. A year after that, the same thing happens again. A single successful conversation doesn't just pay you once. It quietly lifts the entire rest of your earning curve. And then there's the invisible half. In many jobs, retirement contributions are a percentage of your salary, so a higher base quietly increases what gets invested for you as well. Money that then has decades to compound. This is why the numbers get so large. It's illustrative, not a promise, but a modest increase early in a career, carried forward and partly invested, can be worth more over 30 years than most people ever save by cutting back. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. So why does almost nobody have this conversation? Not because it's complicated, because it's uncomfortable, and discomfort, quietly, is one of the most expensive things a person can avoid. The reason most people lose this conversation is that they walk in and improvise. The good news is that almost all of the outcome is decided before you open your mouth. There are 4 pieces of preparation. Number 1. Find out what the work is actually worth. Not what you feel you deserve. What the market pays for the job you're doing in your area, at your level. Public salary data, job listings for your own role, and honest conversations with people in your field will get you a realistic range. This changes what you're doing in the room. You're no longer asking for a favor. You're presenting information. Number 2. Build the evidence file. For a few weeks before, write down what you actually did. Projects delivered. Problems you solved. Anything you saved, earned, sped up, or prevented in numbers wherever you can. Almost nobody does this, which is why almost everybody ends up saying, "I've been working really hard." That is the weakest sentence in this entire conversation. Managers can't defend hard. They can defend results. Number 3. Pick your number and make it a range with a floor. Decide the figure you'll open with near the upper end of the market range and ground it in your evidence, not in what you'd secretly settle for. Then decide privately what your walk-away floor is. The person who has already decided their floor is calm in the room. The person deciding it live will accept almost anything. Number 4. Pick the timing. Ask when your value is most visible. After a delivered project, at a review cycle, when budgets are being planned, and never in a hallway, never in a rush. Send a short message asking for 15 minutes to talk about your role and compensation. That single sentence does 2 useful things. It stops you ambushing your manager, and it makes it real enough that you can't quietly talk yourself out of it. Now the conversation itself. It's shorter and calmer than you're imagining. The whole thing has 3 moves. Move 1. Open with contribution, not need. Something as plain as, "I'd like to talk about my compensation. Over the last year I've done these things, and here's the impact they had." Add the evidence. What you deliberately leave out is your rent, your bills, or how expensive life has become. Those are real. They're just not reasons your employer can act on. Value is Move 2. Name the number, then stop talking. Based on the market range for this role and what I've been delivering, I'm looking for X. Then silence. That pause is the single hardest and most valuable second in the conversation, because whoever speaks first to fill it usually negotiates against themselves. Let it be their turn. Move 3. Handle the no, because a no is rarely the end. If the answer is not now, the follow-up question is the one that matters. I understand. What would need to be true for this to happen, and when can we revisit it? You just turned a rejection into a written path, and if there's genuinely no room in salary, there is often room somewhere else. A title that raises your market value, training, flexibility, a bonus structure, a review date on the calendar. One more thing worth saying plainly. In a healthy workplace, a professional, evidence-based request for fair pay is a normal thing to do, and a reasonable manager expects it. If asking politely for market rate genuinely puts you at risk, that has told you something important about where you're working, and that information is valuable too. Here's the step that decides whether any of this actually makes you wealthier. If the raise lands, route it before it arrives. Increase your automatic transfer to savings or investing by most of the increase on the day it starts, so the money is committed before your life quietly expands to absorb it. Because otherwise this becomes a very well-prepared way to fund a slightly nicer version of the same month. The negotiation earns the money. The automation is what keeps it. So, the 10 minutes. Your income is the one lever with no ceiling, and a raise doesn't just pay you once. It lifts every future raise and often quietly increases what's invested for you. Before the room, find the market range. Build the evidence file. Pick your number and your floor and book the time. In the room, lead with contribution. Name the number and stop talking, and turn any no into a date. Afterwards, route the increase before your lifestyle finds it. The uncomfortable truth is that most people will never have this conversation. They'll spend years hunting for savings in their grocery bill while the biggest single lever in their financial life sits untouched, 10 minutes away. Because it feels awkward to reach for. It is awkward. It's also, hour for hour, probably the best paid work you will ever do. This is education, not financial advice. The examples here are illustrative and simplified. Outcomes vary by role, employer, and country, and everyone's situation is different, so please talk to a licensed professional about your own. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. Every week we break down how money really works, no hype. And before you go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever asked for a raise, and what happened? One sentence in the comments. Someone reading this needs to hear it.